Well, Austin Peay is a team that can really score the ball, really get up and down in transition, a team that went to the NCAA tournament last year, and their guards are really, really good. The kid Robinson scored over 30 points last year 3 times, scored 24 in the first round of the NCAA tournament against Kansas. So he's a kid that's very capable, but he's not the only one. Savage is like a 6'5" 2 guard who hit over 53s last year, 8 of them in one game. So those guys on any given night are very capable on the offensive end, and they're getting better defensively. So again, they went to the NCAA tournament last year. I fully expect that their staff and their players in their locker room feel like they're an NCAA team. So we got to get back in transition and slow them down as best we can.
First question?
Well, I guess, what are some of the, as we kind of come down the stretch here, the non-con schedule, what are some of the key things you want to see from your guys, as you get ready for Big Ten play?
Like any staff, any team, you're trying to improve every day, every game. There are things that we're doing really well early on in the season, but obviously there's some things that we have to continue to improve on. And I think we're sharing the ball really well. I think we're moving the ball really well. But I think defensively we've got to continue to grow and develop in that area a little bit. And we've had some really good moments. We've had some really good moments defensively this year. But obviously, as we get into league play, moving forward here next month, the talent level increases, and we got to continue to get better defensively as well as offensively.
You talk about kind of moving the ball, sharing the ball. Turnovers have dramatically cut down by whatever metric you sort of want to use. These last 3 games, I think it's only 36 in the last 3 games. Coach Green said he felt like the ball was moving better. That was part of the reason. But as you diagnose it, are there specific things you can kind of point to with the guys and say, you're doing this now, you weren't doing it a month ago, and that is what's leading to this reduction?
No, I think that's a really good question. I think one of the things that really stand out when we're watching film with our team is when they do turn the ball over, they've got really good intentions. They're all unselfish. They're not selfish plays. They're not over-dribbling, trying to force a basket. So I think our kids have good intentions, and they're willing passers and capable passers. And I think when you have a group of guys that are willing to move the ball and pass the ball, and their turnovers are a result of trying to get a teammate open, you can always clean that stuff up when you watch the film and say, hey, maybe we over-penetrated, maybe you saw something in terms of maybe Jawan Morgan was open, but maybe the better play was Rob Johnson pulling up at the free throw line and taking a 15-foot jump shot. But again, I think the most important thing for me as I watch the film, the turnovers that we've had in the past were unselfish ones. They had good intentions. We were trying to move the ball. We weren't trying to go one-on-one. And that's always a good sign when you're trying to improve.
You mentioned Rob. He's only had, I think, 2 turnovers in each of his last 7 games. Just what's allowed him to be so effective within that ball game?
Oh, I think he's a kid like the rest of our guys. They really study the film, and they use the film and the film room as a classroom to learn. And they're not they're great that way. They're coachable. You can bring them in the following day after a game or a practice and say, hey, I know you wanted to post feed Duran or Thomas Bryant, but defensively the angle was poor. Maybe if you can create a better angle, we can eliminate that turnover. So I think Rob, like the rest of those guys, do a tremendous job on their own, coming in, watching the film, studying the film, and then being able to, along with our guidance, correct those correctable turnovers.
It's been a while since the surgery, but how's Colin doing in practice, and what's he been able to do on this rehab?
He's been tremendous. His spirit's been really, really high. You can't put a price tag on Colin. Obviously, we want him on the floor, but he's a guy that helped us win a Big Ten championship last year. He's a guy that helped us go undefeated at home last year, a guy that helped us get to the Sweet 16. And although he physically is not on the court, his presence in the locker room, his presence in the timeouts at practice have been tremendous, because our young guys can use him, right, as a sounding board. What works, what doesn't work. Don't get frustrated. Hey, this is what we have to look forward to in Big Ten play. So I think Colin's been tremendous. He really has.
Mike?
When you look at younger guards like Curtis and Devontae as they get closer to the conference season, what are some of the things you've liked from the non-conference season, some of the things you're kind of emphasizing heading into conference?
Oh, I think the one thing both of those kids have is they have a competitive spirit. So I think that's going into your non-conference schedule or your league play. You always want to see that in young kids, right? Things are not going to always go exactly the way you plan. But they come back the following day with a competitive spirit and a willingness to learn. And they both had really nice moments early on. You know, Curtis had a really nice moment in Hawaii against Kansas, and Devontae throughout the non-conferences had some really good moments where he hit a shot, made a play. So those kids are really, really capable, and now it's a matter of getting them to understand the intensity in which they're going to face in Big Ten tournament and the level of execution. But luckily for us, they're coachable, they're really good listeners, and they're really competitive, which again, those are really three good qualities for young guys.
Juwan and OG both had really strong starts to Big Ten play after kind of quiet non-conference seasons last year. Can you maybe point to those guys with younger guys too and say, you know, these guys became key bench players for us basically right away in Big Ten play. Here's how you can emulate some of that.
Yeah, I think Juwan and OG have beat us to the punch. You know, they've been tremendous in terms of sharing their experience a year ago and getting Devontae and Curtis to understand that, you know, they're not the final product today. You know, you're going to get better every day, every week, every month if you just continue to stay positive, which they have, and continue to work at it. And I think it means maybe a little bit more when you have two kids who actually lived it, right? They went through it. So it's not a coach talking to a kid or, hey, get through it, you can make it, keep your head up. This is two guys who actually went through that process. And as you mentioned, really, really helped us in January and February. And I think that's going to be key, that those two guys can really share their experiences with the two freshmen, really the four freshmen.